every single day, every single panel, presentation, fireside, discussion, the thought leadership, the thought-provoking nature, the knowledge exchange, it really has had me at the edge of my seat. I hope it has had the same impact on you. We've had amazing audience participation. We really want to continue with that as we go forward. And I know that the speaker I'll be introducing you on stage in just a moment has already said he's encouraging audience interactivity. Have your thinking hats on for this very special presentation. We're looking at the role of clinical research organizations in driving precision clinical trials. To take us through this, we have Islam, who is El-Tanawi, the General Manager of IROS. Please do give Islam a very big round of applause. Thank you, Islam.
Thank you.
Now, this is a very intriguing title. How did you come up with the role of CROs in driving precision clinical analysis here?
Okay, so everyone thinks that the CROs is just a company that is taking money from other sponsors or biotech or pharma just to implement something. But actually, the role of CROs is very integral in the success of the clinical trial.
Okay.
And that's why the pharma or the biotech is not having their own teams, and they are outsourcing those activities.
Oh,
so I will just shed the light
this
for
is
this.
really exciting. I'm just going to encourage you, Islam, to keep the mic really high up.
Okay.
Because we want to hear every single word. Ladies and gentlemen, please give it over to Islam.
Thank you all. Can you all hear me? Okay, perfect. So let me start with a question. All of us every day seeing publications about molecules, about discovering a new molecule, having something new that will cure cancer or liver disease. Do you think how many of this have been transferred to a market, to a product, to a drug? It is very sad that we have this. Oh. It's moving? Okay. Can we go back? No, we need to go back. Yeah, okay. Okay. Can we go back one slide? Yeah, just that's it. Perfect. Okay, thank you. So, it's very shocking that we have only less than 10% of all of those molecules can pass the early stage of the clinical trials. And out of this 10%, we have only 30% that can pass to the phase 2 and phase 3, which means that if we have 10 molecules, we only have one of them that can proceed to the clinical trial phases. And this is most of the time is not related actually to that the drug is not effective, or even that we have some issue with the safety of the drug. Most of the time is related to some other operational aspects of the trial. If we have a look about who is the clinical research stakeholders, we have a sponsor like a pharma, biotech companies, which are developing the molecule in the research and development part. They are sponsoring the clinical trials. And we have also clinical research site, physicians, which we have some of them here. They are a main stakeholder in the clinical trial. They are the one that can implement that protocol. They can assess the safety of the trial. And we have also the regulatory agencies. Without having a clear regulatory framework, we cannot run a clinical trial. But also the ethical part, which we are needing to make sure that safety, well-being of any participant. And participant acceptance to be in part of the clinical trial. How many of us, if you tell them, can you enroll in a clinical trial, he will be hesitant and say, okay, what you are doing with me? Are you testing on me? Are you using me in experiments? But in most of cases, the clinical trial can be considered one of the safest way of getting the treatment, especially if this is a rare disease, oncology, something like that. And the contract research organization, which play a big role in the success of the clinical trial. So what is the CROs doing mainly? So when you have a clinical trial, as we mentioned, the failure is not related only to the drug is not effective, but you might have an issue-related protocol writing that is not written in a right way, or the primary objective is not clear enough. So the CROs having all their work is mainly in clinical research. So they have the expertise to make sure that the protocol is clear, the protocol are fulfilling all the requirements, and can pass all the regulatory aspect related to it. And even now with the technology related to biomarker analysis, some of the trials we are not clear about what diagnostic tool we will use. Let us take an example in diabetes, what we will measure, what blood analysis we will do. But now with the advancement in technology, and now we can take an example like, for example, the medical imaging. In the clinical trial, you have to have a clear medical imaging standardization. But now with the AI involvement, you can have a quick medical imaging analysis. And that's what makes some of the regulatory accept the involvement of AI now, which will be booming. So instead of waiting someone to analyze the medical imaging to enroll a participant or not, you can have directly AI medical imaging analysis and you can have it. The other part is related to the regulatory. Most of the companies are focusing on, okay, I want to register the product in the FDA, so I will follow only the FDA. Or I want to register in Europe, I will follow only Europe. But each country and each area have a different regulation. And this is what the CROs do. They have experience in different countries, so they know all the regulation. And at the end, if you had a big focus on this, you can have a protocol, a study that fulfilling all the regulation that can make it easier for you. Also, one of the big parts that I mentioned is related to the trial design. So trial design, sometimes you think that you only want to focus about primary objective if this drug is effective. But let us take an example, oncology trial. This is not the case in oncology trials. You cannot have like a drug that is curing the disease. This is nothing happen. So the CRO have the expertise to make sure that you are writing the right trial design and making sure that the operation of this will reach to the outcome. One of the biggest part that we have now and biggest topic is related to data. So now every country is talking about data privacy, data transfer, everything. So in clinical research, I can say it's more aggressive because you need to have this data transferred from, say, I'm applying in MEHRA or applying in FDA, so how this will be managed. So the CROs is one of the people that are working related to this data management, making sure the accuracy of the data related to the trial, making sure of the quality of this data, making sure that we're fulfilling all the regulatory aspect to everyone. And now with having also the technology related to this, this is making it easier. So you can have like remote data monitoring, you can have remote data management, whatever. So in order to make sure that whatever data is related to the clinical trial is accurate and is the right data for the patient. But also in the part related to the patient recruitment, which is very critical. So how many trials that we initiated and then we find out, no, we couldn't reach the recruitment. The target is 10 people and we didn't find the right. How we are making sure that we have the right cohort? Because this is not only, let us take it, not only scientific issue, but also business issue. Because if you started a trial in a country and you don't have the right cohort, this means that the country, you cannot doing the feasibility, the right feasibility for this trial. So what we are trying to make sure that in each trial you do a right feasibility and make sure that the right cohort is available. And now, while people before me talk about the Emirati Genome Program, this is very critical because this will help in even identifying participants with having a full genetic profile for them, especially in some areas and some therapeutic areas where you need to have this. Also, I believe this is the last point related to this is the partnership. Everyone is looking at the CROs like they are just a service provider. I will tell them to do this and they will do this. This is not right. Because if this is right, I don't believe that the pharma will outsource their activities to a CROs to run their clinical trial. This is a big asset. Clinical trial can move a company to a success or a failure. If you have a big molecule and the trial is failed, this will impact the companies. So the CROs are mainly, the role is to make sure that everything related to the trial is done in an accurate way. Without focusing at that this molecule need to be a success or need to be a failure. We don't care about this as a CRO. We make sure that everything is accurate and everything is focusing on patient safety, well-being, and patient rights. That's our main focus. And I believe this is the beauty of having a CRO in the clinical trial, because they are independent. They are not like, they will not be impacted if the molecule is a success or a failure. They will not be like focusing, okay, this will make my stock market increase or decrease. We are just focusing on the quality of the clinical trial. I believe was quick, and I am open to any questions. Please. Was I clear enough? Okay. No questions? Thank you all. Thank you.